This is Ryan, and I'm here with Storm Willow at Programming of the Magical Mind. The Programming's Guide to the Magical Mind. Tony, why don't you tell us about who you are, first of all?
Uh, okay. But Practicing witch for 35 plus years. Not always called myself a witch. For like 20 years or so, I called myself a magus. But it's all the same thing. So it's just whatever. And I like the word witch. Plus, there's a lot of negative connotation with it. So it's kind of like reclaiming the
Yeah.
power behind that word and showing people that it's not necessarily a bad thing. So as I live by example to be what I consider a benefit to creation, my creation, our creation. um, I also use that word, so hopefully it will you know uh,
Manifest?
connect people with the concept of bettering our creation. That's what a witch does.
Yeah. Yeah, it stems from Wise Woman, doesn't it?
Well, it's either Wicca or Wicca, and one is, of course, it's really kind of iffy as far as the etymology is concerned. I've looked it up, and one is wise man, the other is wise woman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really just like wise man um, is like in basically when they're talking about the three wise men in the Bible, that
Yeah.
goes back to the Zoroastrian. Zoroastrian. I don't know how you pronounce it. I always call it Zoroastrian, but yeah, it's the Persian mages. Of course, that's the three ones from the east. That's where they came from. They came from Persia,
Yep.
uh, and India and China. I mean, they come from three different countries. But and I used to know their names, but what they all had in common was the Zoroastrianism, and in Zoroastrian, um, the language that they mostly used in that concept was uh, I don't remember what the language is, but there's a word in it that's called magos,
Yeah.
and that's where you get mage from. That's where you get magi from. That's where you get mages from.
Yeah.
So all of those that's the original wording of it. I mean, that's where the word came from. As far as we can tell, is like as far as mage goes, is from Zoroastrian.
Yeah.
Which is Wicca. Um, one is wise man, the other is wise woman. Wise person. It just depends on whether you want to call it Wicca or Wicca.
Yeah.
Um, and the difference is WECCE and WICCA. So it's very, very similar in its concept as far as the etymology goes. That's why they have a hard time with it. They look at it and they're like, yeah, that's kind of close, but we'll just go with that. And they do. They literally do. It's like certain words they can just like track back to like Germanic or Old English. Um, yeah, so it really just depends on how far they can track that word back as far as to what it means. But for the most part, witch means like a wise person, wise one.
Yeah,
Witch,
there's
magus, it's all
always
the
been
same
that
thing.
title, and it's the healer of the tribe.
Yeah, yeah. Shaman, um, she-man, which being transgender, I really can relate to that one as a two-spirit. But she-man, I mean, because the shaman, a lot of times they were cross dressers, so and that was not uncommon at all for a shaman to be a cross dresser. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
because they were balanced. They were balanced in that in the idea of the masculine and the feminine, the sun and the earth.
Yeah, for sure.
They showed honor between both of those at the same time. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. Everybody talks like twin flame. I think twin
Um,
flame's inside you.
yeah, I would totally agree with that. I mean, normally I don't even talk about twin flames because it just has so much expectation behind it. But if you look at it from like that point of view where it's like inside you, that your twin flame is part of you, then yeah, absolutely, I can totally to go with that.
Yeah, well, it makes sense too because it's the Kundalini energy. It's the
Right.
positive, negative,
What is it, Ida and Pingala or something like that?
something like that.
Anyway, it's the two snakes interwoven on the Caduceus wand, whatever it is. But yeah, that's pretty much what I practice. I practice Kabbalah, Hermetics. I mean, it's all just magic to me, but
Oh yeah,
uh,
for sure. It all just
ceremonial,
stems from different areas, and they
different
so
systems.
yeah,
hmm Well, that's with me being eclectic. There are some traditionalists that do stick to like one particular system, and
yeah,
that's fine. If that's how they want to do it, that's fine. But after 35 years, you're just like, you know, I don't have to stay inside this box.
yeah, exactly.
I can get out of this particular box mentality, this belief system, and go out, find whatever that I accept and understand and recognize as valuable, and adopt it
We,
into my own system.
well, you see similarities in all of them. They all
Well,
stem
yeah, yeah,
from
they all
the
have,
same source.
yeah, they all have like certain similarities, definitely. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about comparing Kabbalah, with the I Ching.
Yeah,
Um, it's two completely different systems, but they do have a concept that is consistent. So yeah,
well, Buddhism too.
yeah, Buddhism as well. Whenever
They
you're talking,
all tend to have the same amount of past enlightenment, and
if you're going to get right down to it, it's like that one saying. Of course, it's longer than what most people say it as, but it's just so common in just about any belief system, any system of magic, any system of self exploration. And there's the key word right there, those two key words, self exploration, which leads to what was written above the gates of Delphi at the Oracle of Delphi, and that is to know thyself.
yeah,
And whenever you look at those two words, you can see that know thyself in all of it. It
yep,
doesn't, it doesn't matter if it's Hermetics, it doesn't matter if it's witchcraft or Wicca or Kabbalism, Judaism, even Christianity. You're finding that Holy Spirit within
yeah,
that, and the Golden Dawn calls it the Holy Guardian Angel.
yep.
But it's all about getting to know our inner essence, who we actually are. And in
Yeah, I
spirituality,
always say magic is 99% self work and about 1% magic.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because once you know yourself, that magic part is really just another label.
Yeah, you don't need it anymore. You
No.
know the universe is going to do what you need anyway.
Yeah, once you've got that certainty, what I call it's to me, I mean, there's a lot of people that might use a different definition for it, but to me, it's faith.
Yeah,
And but it's faith in one's self, not faith in anything outside of us. But define outside of us once we get to a certain point. It's like Lon Milo Duquette said. It's like it's all in your mind, but you just have no idea how big your mind is.
yeah.
Which I mean, encompasses multi-universes,
Oh,
so
for sure.
multiverses. So whenever we do say it's all in your mind, yeah, okay, yes, it is in our mind, but so is everything else. Like
Yeah,
all of it, our higher mind. Everything exists within our higher mind, and that higher mind, of course, that's touched upon in Hermetics as far as the principle of mentalism and the all is mind and the universe is mental. So yeah, that's where that comes from, and that's what Lon Milo is talking about.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, that's I think that's pretty much about where I'm at as far as like where I what I do, what I practice. You
Okay.
know, so,
So, what suggestions would you give for somebody just starting out?
let's see. So basically. Beginner's Witchcraft 101. Take one. Let's see. I would say elements.
Yep.
I like wrote a post the other day, and that's like, I think you saw it, but yeah, talking about the elements and how um, they literally are the basic foundation for the same thing for all of these magic systems. Yeah, at first, what we was just talking about is you don't need any of that because it's all in our knowledge, in our knowing.
Yeah. It's all a part of you.
It's all,
You
yeah,
have all four elements inside you.
it's all in our gnosis. Once we experience it and we have a personal experience of a nature that we know and we can understand and totally recognize as it happened because we wanted it to,
Yeah.
and you know it, you just know it. If you want to call it omens, you want to call it synchronicities. Um, a word I don't necessarily support is coincidence.
Yeah.
There's always a cause and effect there, and that's one thing that the Hermetics says is to be the causer, not the person affected.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what we are. We are the prime movers of our lives. Whenever the fates are doing their thing and they're weaving, they ask us what kind of thread to use and what stitch to use. You
Yeah,
know,
that makes sense.
so it's like totally us having say so within our own fate and the fate of others if we really, really, really want to go there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, uh, but yeah, as far as the basics go, yeah, definitely elementary magic, I guess is what they call it, which is kind of neat because it does go along with the school systems. You
Yeah.
start with elementary, that's elemental magic. As far as if you think about it from like magic grades, you start with elementary and then you go into high school, maybe middle school, that kind of like in between where you're getting initiated into the upper part of it, quote unquote upper. But it's like you can't do algebra if you don't know how to add and subtract. Well,
Yeah,
you
they're
can't do
completely
high magic if you don't know the elements. It just, you can't do it. And so it's really not necessarily upper or lower or any advanced or anything like that. It's a um, cumulative, I believe is what the word is, a cumulative step-by-step process that, if you're going up a flight of stairs and there's like five missing or even two or three missing, you're going to have a hard time getting to that next step.
Yeah, exactly.
So and the elements are a primary part of that staircase to our own understanding. And once we get to the high magic, that we start understanding a little bit deeper ideas of the hermetics behind it and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
Of course, and then from the high school, if you want to, you can go into the university, and the key word there is universe,
Yeah.
and start looking at it from these like much more. It's like you was talking about in a video the other day where you were talking about these planets have been around way longer than the gods have.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I'm totally all about. I need to do my hexagram. I need to get that down. But yeah, I totally believe the cosmic entities
Hmm.
are way older, at least than the angels, and probably 90% of the gods.
Oh yeah. Well, they have to be. They're planets. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. They've been around. We could probably go to some planets and be like not necessarily in our solar system and possibly maybe in our solar system and get like a soil sample
Yeah.
and do some way to figure out the date of it. And if it's 10 times older than the planet Earth is in its entirety,
Yeah.
then that tells you that that planet has been around 10 times longer than Earth. And if it's been around 10 times longer than the Earth, then any gods that we come up with in our minds, it's definitely older than.
Yeah, for sure.
And that energy still exists there.
Since you're on that topic, can you explain to the kiddies out here, like how that works, like the thought form shit, No, gories or whatever.
Oh, egregores, what I call egregores. But yeah, I think you're right the way you pronounce it. I just call it
I
egregore.
have no idea.
I do believe you're right. I think well, I've read it egregores. When I first read it, I saw it. I read it as egregores because I'm English.
Right?
Well, I speak English, so that's what it looked like to me was egregores. It's just like at first, whenever I saw like Hecate, I
Yeah.
pronounced it Hecate because I'm an American.
Well, they say Hecate's not even close to
It
what it.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, I was just using that as an example.
Say.
Yeah, she don't mind. She don't mind. You know way, know how you pronounce her name.
Yeah.
As long as you pronounce it and do so with honor and respect. But
Well, it was like, man, you were talking the other day. It's just, it seems to me like they're aspects of the same being.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the dark goddess and stuff like that, or the goddess of witchcraft. It seems like they all do have that same archetypal
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah,
Which
they
I find
correspond as
interesting.
fuck.
So there's something that you can take from Wicca, because they talk about the archetypes in Wicca, um, as well as how they are like archetypal energies, and one goddess is all goddesses,
Yeah.
and one god is all gods. But yeah, and that is I see that to a degree, but not completely all the way.
Yeah.
But as far as egregores go, and well, we create what we speak. You know, if you ever meet a true witch, we won't lie.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it takes power from our words. It takes integrity away from our foundational standing on our words. What we say is what is. And
Yeah.
if we take it to if we start lying, then we know we're lying, then that puts doubt in our words. So
Damn,
yeah,
that's genius. I never even thought about that. That's
well,
and
yeah,
dude, like
I
even
don't lie.
Jesus, the Magi, says that.
Yeah,
Like,
I might not volunteer the entire truth, but I won't lie.
dude, totally.
you know,
Yeah, that's one thing I've always.
I might omit certain things, that might be something that I might mention or should ought to mention. But if I don't mention it, then it's not a lie. It's just omitting it. It's leaving it out. So and it's part of the process of my words coming out of my mouth as energy. So as long as I leave something out, there's no energy being misused through my voice. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even if it's moralistically not necessarily intact, I don't care.
Yeah, dude, that totally makes sense to me.
My
Like,
morals are my own.
yeah, I meant like, you are taking your power away.
Yeah,
You're saying,
exactly.
okay, only half of my words are fucking real.
Right. So whenever I say something and I'm doing my spells and I'm doing my rituals, or I just say I'm going to do this, then or I am doing this, like after affirmations. If you
Yep.
start saying affirmations, then your body or your subconscious is used to you not lying, then every word you say is seen as truth. It's fact.
Yep, it becomes
So,
real.
and that's where affirmations get their power from, is actually our own integrity.
Yep.
But yeah, as we speak, so we create. And in that process, we have throughout time, in my own opinion, uh, we created the realms, the gods, uh, that we could, in such a way so that we could relate to that which was unrelatable at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, God's been doing this a while.
Oh,
But that God is source of the universe, the Almighty, the infinite, you know,
oh,
mind,
yeah.
the infinite living mind
Yep.
has constantly been in our awareness because we are that infinite living mind.
Yeah,
And
you're a part of it.
everything's in creation is part of that, right? So yeah, And as long as we have been reaching toward that idea, then the infinite living mind has been expressing itself in ways we were ready to receive it and be able to understand it, whether that be Zeus, Apollo, Aphrodite, and they all do exist. They all exist. They were created by this
Oh
infinite
yeah.
mind. So they are real, but they were real and they are created to our specifications.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
I'm willing to bet there's a DC and Marvel universe out there. I'm willing to bet it.
there might be. There,
Well, Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, and Grant Morrison are three comic book writers. They're all magicians.
hmm
Those motherfuckers have all said they have ran across their characters.
Okay, yeah, and it does make sense because we are. And South Park had that one show, Imagination Land. It's like a three-part series.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that or not, but that is so perfectly representing what we're talking about.
yeah, exactly. Have
You
you
know,
seen the Gnostic episode?
I don't know if I have or not, but
It's
yeah,
like Kenny got this game to, I don't know, he goes to heaven and all this.
oh yeah, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and he's the one that can like create. Uh, oh no, that was the other one. That was Imagination Land. But yeah, with Kenny, he could command all the armies of heaven. He was like their strategy commander.
Nope.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, yeah, dude, South Park's genius, man.
So yeah, that's an egregore. Whenever we put energy into that, even if one person puts energy into that, you know, after, it's kind of chaos magic, if you will, or a wild magic. I don't really like using the word chaos magic, but
Yes.
it's kind of a wild magic because you have one person that creates it, but once they create it and then release it to public, the public puts more energy into it.
Yeah,
And to me, that's wild magic. That's how wild magic works.
yeah.
Is it works from like all different directions, energy coming from everywhere, you know. Which obviously it's not chaos because even in chaos, you still follow a structure. You still follow a certain pattern, and and when you do that, you're no longer in the realm of chaos. You're doing something orderly.
The
Yeah.
one thing I don't believe in is chaos.
Yeah, I don't really support chaos either. I have nothing against looking at something and doing something in a randomly wild way,
Yeah.
you know. And
And
wild,
you look at it and analyze it, and you're like, fuck, this isn't random at all.
yeah. I mean, I used to play like role playing games, and one of the things that they had in it later on in the different editions was wild magic. You know, so and I really I liked what that sounded like, and I'm like, okay, I'm borrowing this from somewhere else, but I do that because I am eclectic.
Yeah.
And I do it from Yoda. I do it from from Mewtwo. You name it. You know,
Oh yeah.
if I find the wisdom in it, I will adopt it and accept that.
That's what you should do. You should make it your own system. You know,
Right.
it's the one-on-one with you and the divine, the all.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I basically did was I took this idea. Well, Peter Carroll, I mean, I give him credit for what he did, but I just don't follow his chaos mentality. I
Is that the
feel
dude
like,
that wrote Liberal Noel?
yeah, he's the one that wrote that,
Yeah.
a Liber Null or whatever it's called. But yeah, well, it wasn't just him. It was him and a couple other people.
I actually got it right here. I can look
I
it up.
want to say Stewart's one of the guy's last names. It was one of the people with him, but at any rate, yeah, they created this system, which anybody can create a system of magic. And the system that they used, they called chaos magic, and it's not. It's to me, it's
At all.
It's wild magic,
Yeah.
you know, because you put something out there. You use the servitor, which is like a limited egregore. You use tulpas, which are thought forms. You use sigils, however you want to pronounce it. And those, it's all pretty much empowered by not only you, but whoever you can get to look at it, whoever you can get to be partake in it, so there's a wild, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Drawing, anybody who looks at that particular symbol, that energy, whatever energy they have is put into it, so, and that could not necessarily be a good thing because it's wild magic. You don't know. I mean, let's say you've got something for healing, but then you like send out this symbol, and then somebody who just come out of a kumite or some type of a mixed martial arts contest and was at home chilling on the internet, and here they see the symbol and they just beat the shit out of somebody, but it's a symbol for healing.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So that's wild magic. You have to take your chances with that, and as far as
Well,
where
it's like servitors. A lot of time people don't put the right intentions, the right
Mhm.
methods to stop it if it loses control, and they lose control of
Yeah, and that's something else to bring up as far as like for like you said, the magic kids or the witchy kids, the little kids in witchcraft, is banishing. Banish, banish, banish. I will always fucking bring that up because it's so important to banish the area before you start. Do whatever you're going to do, put that energy out there so that doesn't happen, and then banish again any energies that you might have attracted.
it. Yep,
Because
exactly.
even if you're working with, let's just say you want to enchant a wand with fairy magic, okay, you banish your area of the positive and the negative using the LBRP and the LBRH, lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and of the hexagram,
Yep.
and you clear yourself a pot, you clear your shrine or your temple or your grove or your circle or whatever, of any type of energy. Then you call upon these fairies to charge your wand, because you want to use it for wishes, let's just say. Fairies and wishes, yay. So, and we can say, like the fairy godmother of the Disney, that's what she was doing. She could do was like grant wishes to Cinderella and stuff. Of course, they didn't call them wishes, but she would use her magic to get it done. Um, and then once you're done with that, you've got fairy magic in your circle. Okay, you've got fairy energy, the bibbity bobbity doo stuff, and you're like, and if you don't, you start feeling airy and loopy and like you're dancing around on your tiptoes and tapping stuff, and you're like, wait a second, I forgot to banish. So you have
Totally.
to banish that energy after you use it. So you banish it first to clear it, you use the energy, and then you banish again to get rid of it. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it be fairy magic, demonic magic, fiery magic, any of the elementals.
Yep.
Yeah, if you do something like to create a pentacle, for example, you're building a pentacle, so you invoke Earth, you know, and then you don't banish, and you start feeling all sluggish and downtrodden and depressed. You need to banish Earth. You need to get that elemental energy out of your container, whatever that is, grove, temple, shrine, circle.
Yep.
So yeah, that's Witchcraft 101. That's not any advanced stuff right there. That's basic.
Yeah,
Banish,
that's
banish, banish.
that's way basic, and that's not where anybody starts.
And it's really not just basic. I mean, it that's part of it. It's
Yeah.
like you find out. Like let's go back to the math for a second. You find out whenever you're in what, the third, fourth grade, that there are integers,
Yeah.
and those are numbers. They're a number from what, from zero to the positive infinity, or zero to the negative infinity, and you learn about these numbers. Well, that's the same thing with banishing. It's like very concept, basic concept. But once you get into trigonometry, guess what you're still using?
Yeah.
Those fucking
Well,
numbers.
Crowley says the lesser banishing ritual is the most important ritual you can know.
Yeah, it really is.
It is.
Well, not only because it's the most important, because it is a banishing ritual, but because you can learn how to feel energy flowing through you, you can work with the correspondences in such a manner, and it's
Yep.
something familiar. It's a system that you're kind of already familiar with people who are coming from Christianity or Catholicism or something like that. They recognize the archangels. You know,
Yep.
they recognize the God names, so it doesn't scare them off. It just is like a really pretty prayer.
Yep.
You know, it's a really powerful. Excuse me, it's a really powerful prayer. So it's a safe place, and that's I think that's what it's important to know is like it's a safe way to conduct a ritual in such a way that you learn what you're doing, and then once you learn what you're doing, then you can start expanding that outside of what's safe,
Yep.
quote unquote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you, I don't know, they say you should practice that for a fucking year, and before
It's
you do
whenever you're comfortable. Like I said, it's whenever you feel like you felt that energy, you know what energy feels like. You recognize whenever you walk into an area or a room or something and that energy is different. It's about being able to recognize that energy.
Yep.
And if you have done the, and I mean, one thing it's important to do the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram for, is to memorize it, like literally backwards and forwards. You know, can you say like Yod He Vav He Adonai Ehege Atagi Boli Olam Adonai, or can you say Agla and then go back to Eheye Adonai and then Yod He Vav He, which is Widdershin. That's backwards and then forwards. I went forwards and then I went backwards, and you got to know that shit forwards and backwards. And what are you doing whenever you throw those pinnacles up? Why are you doing it?
Yep.
Where are you moving from? What are you moving away from? Why is it blue? You know,
Yeah. Exactly.
all of that has a reason. Why is the circle that you draw around from each pentacle?
Yep.
Why is it white? Why do we use the God names? What do the God names mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and as far as the angels are concerned, what do they represent to us? You know, all of that is important because it creates our foundation of where we're at in our circle.
Yep.
You know, so
And where are you at, Tony?
well, if I look at Raphael, I see him as the healer,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I meant in the circle. You're in the center.
Well, yeah, you're in the center. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, and that's where your altar is right there in the center. And then normally it's facing east if you're
Yep.
more inclined to ceremonial magic, and then of course in some paths they face the north. You
Yeah.
know,
I always thought it was weird to face the north. I
it's
could.
really just up to whoever's doing it, whatever they feel comfy with. To be
Yeah.
totally honest, I mean,
Well, like I say all the time, is make your own system, dude. It
well,
works for me. I rock it.
and at first, yeah, it's to me at first it's kind of like, yeah, you got to face these. But even if you do the old lesser banishing ritual of the hexagram, those directions change.
Yeah.
I mean, they're no longer the same directions as you were facing before. I think like east is fire and south is is earth.
I'll be
And
damned.
yeah, it's all mixed around once you get to the lesser banishing ritual, the hexagram. But I'm just trying to. I'm
So
basically.
is that because it's more planetary energies? So like fire's in a different spot because it's a planet, not an element.
It's yeah. Well, no, it's the reason why it's in the lesser banishing ritual, the hexagram, that the elements are in a different position is because you're doing it on a different plane.
Ah,
I mean, you kind of have to look at it like I don't know the full concept of it, but I think it has something to do with the spiral. And as you move up on a plane, you spiral upward. You know, so and as that circle, it kind of like turns. You know, it moves, it shifts whenever you're going up a so like the plane, like using a spiral. Of course, I'm just speculating here. I don't really know. That's why I'm just
Well,
guessing.
no, this is all gold. That makes so much sense.
But yeah, it's kind of a spiral thing, and it might not necessarily be an exact spiral. There could be like a loop
It's
to
probably
it.
the fucking Fibonacci.
It might. That's what I was avoiding. But yeah, it might be the Fibonacci,
Dude, it
and
has to be. I mean, everything is the same pattern.
it has something to do with the Fibonacci, right? Yeah, like the whole idea of the toroidal shape. That's the basically the torus. That shape is what pretty much the universe creates with,
Yeah.
and it don't
And
matter
then
if you're
you
talking.
start getting deeper, you get the seed of life, you get the fucking tree, all
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah,
I
and
seen one the other day that showed that three-dimensional. That's a double helix.
yeah, yeah, and the double helix is the center of that toroid shape. But once it spins outward, it forms like a donut shape, which is like the same shape of like a peach or your heart, or not your heart, but your lungs, an apple, a tree, how it grows up one way and then the roots they grow the other way down.
Yep.
Um, all of that is symbolic of this toroidal shape, this torus shape.
Yep.
Your
Ah,
aura,
you'll
the electromagnetic field of the Earth, a quasar. Whenever it explodes, it goes out one way and goes out the other.
yep.
So it's literally the building block. To me, it's literally the building block of creation. Is
Totally. I did acid last summer, and fucking all I could see was the seed or what is it?
the
Seed,
flower,
and then
the flower of light.
yeah, basically, yeah, fucking just overlapping everything. It got a little overwhelming. But I was like, oh fuck, this is what God looks like. And that picture I sent you today, the
Uh,
face,
okay, yeah.
fucking I'll show you the video. That's gonna be our intro. But
Oh, okay.
fucking it's got the double helix in the flame.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to take a look at that whenever you show me the actual video. But yeah, just the picture of it was pretty wild.
Yeah. The picture, dude, that ended up being 444.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I check them all the time now since we see them all the fucking time.
Right, yeah. Well, it just becomes like a habit after a while. It's just like you don't even mean to do it, and you just know whenever you need to do it.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay. And then you, just like we just did, just laugh about it. Because at a certain point, you really just have to be like, yeah, that's just part of life. Because if not, you will go nuts.
Oh, dude, like 2 years ago, I was in Vegas, and dude, at fucking like on the fucking hour, every hour, synchronous, all
Yeah.
this shit. And at a certain point, I'm just like, I get you're trying to tell me something. Not getting the point. Fuck off.
I literally went through a whole year. Every time that I looked at the clock was a triple digit.
Yep.
Every time. It got to the point where, and matter of fact, I still do. I have my clock covered up with an index card.
Yeah. Dude, it gets old because you think you're going crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I said it can drive you nuts. So you really just have to laugh it off and be like, okay,
Yeah.
that's just part of life. After a certain point, you really just have to be like, okay, and then start studying numerology to find out what the hell they're trying to tell you.
Oh, that's a good fucking method. I always look up the stupid angel numbers, and it's always some
Ew.
stupid bullshit.
See, I don't like that because most of the times I look up what they're also called repeating numbers.
Yeah.
And if you look up repeating numbers, you don't run into that angel number stuff as much. I don't want to call it nonsense, but most of it is like, well, the angels are watching over you. You're in a
Yeah.
good place, The
Well,
masters are
the
watching
thing
over
I
you.
have an issue with is it's all the same.
It's all the same. Exactly. It's the same message over and over. And it's like, look, I want to know what this message is. And if they're all the same message, then how is that even a point?
Why are you wasting my time?
Why are you wasting my time? Why is that even a necessity?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here watching these numbers all day that I've been seeing for a year straight. Triple digits. Like right now, it's 111 here.
Yeah. Oh, 11:11.
Yeah, right. So not only is it 111 here, you have 11:11 there.
Well, on my fucked up clock.
On your fucked up clock that you have yet to put forward yet. All that.
I'll hit daylight savings
Spring
at some point.
forward, yeah. I don't like it either, but we have to live. We have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But
right.
yeah, at a certain point, you're just like, my gosh, if all these triple digits are the same, then why am I seeing them?
Yeah.
And if they're all saying, oh, the angels are watching over you, the angels are in your life, you're on the right track. If I wanted an affirmation, I would make one.
Fucking hell. Dude, I'm all about like controlling the angels now. Like I see those as computer programs.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, they technically are. They're basically that serve mankind. That's
exactly
the whole concept behind the rebelling of the angels. Is some of them got pissed about it because they didn't want to serve mankind and be like, no, you made that man better than us, and you made us first. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I was working up to it.
You had to try some shit out.
Right. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's exactly right about that part, but yeah, the angels are servants. That's literally what they're made for.
So when I do my lesser and invoking, I embody it now. Like I don't go, oh, I need your help. I go, okay, get inside.
Oh yeah. So you can so basically you invoke their energy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Like I was talking about with Raphael. Raphael means healer of God. So if you want to draw in that healing quality, you don't say, Raphael, do this for me. It's like, Raphael, come here. And then you just step into Raphael and you become that. You take on that energy. You incorporate and.
The funny part is when you get into the greater banishing and shit, that's what you ended up doing.
Yeah, you basically step into those seals and into those pentacles and everything, and you draw that energy into yourself. Yep. And that's why it's so important to go back to the basic magic stuff is to banish, and that's not only banishing your area, but that's like purifying yourself as well.
Yep.
Use another simple ritual that I first learned in Wicca, and I do go back to Wicca a lot because there's a lot of, especially with Scott Cunningham. I mean, heck, he was one of my I refer to Modern Magic quite a bit, and it's a really good book. And Donald Michael Craig wrote that. Well, later on in life, I found out that Donald Michael Craig was Scott Cunningham's roommate for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And they knew each other. I was like, well, that makes sense. Because you've got Scott Cunningham, who is like, I don't want to use the word, but he was the guru of Wicca. I mean, it's like, if anybody who has studied Wicca knows anything, they know Scott Cunningham. And the same with modern magic. Most people who have studied like ceremonial magic or really gotten into it have heard of the book Modern Magic, and most assuredly have heard of the author Donald Michael Craig.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. But what I was getting to is in one of Scott Cunningham's books. Basically, Wicca, the most popular one that's been ever written on Wicca is like Wicca, the Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. He's got a ritual in it that's really simple, where you just light a stick incense and you circle it around you.
Yep.
You just like totally circle around you and create what? Again, a spiral. Okay. Yep. And you spiral it around you, and you let all of that smoke draw any energy that's inside you out and up and away. Yeah. And then when you do that, that's a way of purifying through smoke. In certain instances, like in the, let's just go the completely different direction, in the Abramelin working, you get into a point or a position where smoke don't cut it. You have to go take a bath. You
Yeah.
literally have to take a ritual in the
Like
sacred
salt
magic of
bath.
Abramelin the Mage. You have to take a bath after you are done.
Dude,
And
it's surprising how good a salt bath feels.
oh, it's epic. It's epic, yeah. Because and especially if you just like, of course, what I normally do is I put whatever the salt bath in, the salt in there, sea salt. Keep
Yeah.
that, that's
Yeah,
important.
Himalayan sea salt's always the best.
Yeah, well, I just use sea salt, but yeah, Himalayan. Yeah, I've heard about that stuff being really, really good. And I put a little bit of my little pretty stuff in there, like lavender, rose
Yeah.
petals. And I think it's important. I think it's important to purify that and have both those qualities, that earthing quality of the salt, but also having that fragrance of the goddess
Oh yeah.
to balance it out. And maybe even a little bit of patchouli, for earth.
Yeah.
And
Well, if you could use all 4 elements, it's always pretty good, or all 5.
and I mean, if you really, really, really want to, and I'm not above this at all, stick a battle axe up against your fucking wall while you're taking a bath that you can see it, because
Okay.
that invokes that masculine warrior, or even
That's
that
the one thing I like about
that
the
feminine warrior,
Nordic path.
the goddess path. Also, like the Nordic path. Yeah, there's some very strong feminine, not feminine, but female type of characters in it, but
Oh,
that
for
are
real?
very balanced out in the masculine and the feminine as far as that goes. The receptive and the progressive, that push and pull
But
process,
that's what I really like about their path is
very
the
balanced.
whole embodying of the gods. They
Yeah.
don't go and ask Odin to do
Oh
things.
no, they become them. Yeah. They do. They invoke them. They're like, Odin,
Go do this.
be this with me right now. I'm here. Yeah, literally. But yeah, once if you add all those qualities, those correspondences, if you will, um, energies to that bath,
Yeah.
and then you just sit there and you breathe the water
Yep.
without using your mouth. You breathe it through your pores.
Yep.
And whenever you breathe that water through your pores, you breathe it in and you push it out. You breathe it in and you push it out. And there it is again, that gender, that masculine and feminine, that push and pull. That and you're not going to get away from that. You're not going to, in any time in magic, you're going to be using receptive where you're meditating, or you're going to be progressive where you're putting energy out there, one or the other, or both. If you're creating something and you put, like, create a ball in your mind in front of you, that is a container, but then you put energy into it, that is force and form. So you can create a form and then you put the force inside it, and the force itself will just dissipate and float on away. But because you have it contained in a form, whether it be a sphere or be a triangle or a square or a dot, just a little bitty dot, it still is a form. It still carries a point, a dimensional point in space and time. So when it does that and you have that point in that space and time, you have got a container. You have got a form that you can use to put energy into.
Yeah, exactly.
So whenever you're doing that, as far as that push and pull of the water, that's what you're doing, is you're being receptive, drawing that water into you, and all that flowing energy of all the different oils that you use and their qualities, and then pushing out along with that all of the negative shit,
Yeah.
and then when you're done with your bath, after you've done all that relaxing, you just pull the plug on the bathtub and sit there and allow it to drain as you're sitting in the water. And as the water level goes down, you can feel it, all that energy going away, because as the water goes down, it has a sensation. You have a feeling sensation because your skin is subject to touch. And when the water's no longer there, you can feel it going away.
Yeah.
So, and that's a really neat way to drain yourself of any negative energy, is by draining the tub that you're in, but don't just like take a bath and get out. Stay in there, let that water drain. And as it drains and it goes down the drain, so does everything that goes with it. Now, if you're using salt, sea salt, stuff like that, which is a majority of the time, obviously, after you drain, you do that physical process or that spiritual process, energetic process of getting all that energy away from you. You still have to take a shower, and get the salt off of you and wash it down too, wash it off. So, but that is a full-fledged purification ritual, bath and shower.
Yep.
So, and sometimes you have to do that. You can either circle an incense around you and get it done that way with smoke coming up off of you, but you have to purify yourself, like you was talking about. If you step into an angel, you step into a demon, or you step into a seal, and you bring that energy into you, banish, purify, release.
I'm still a little iffy if I banish at the end, because like, you're kind of fucking doing all this shit for a reason to get it in you. But I like how we put it the other night, is where you release it into the universe.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. Is once you're like the fairy magic, once you've used that and you put it into your wand, you banish any excess magic that's are still around, and you ground yourself. You ground any energy that So not only are you, it's like literally like in electronics. Any excess energy is grounded into the earth.
Yep. That's actually a perfect way to explain it.
Well, thanks.
If you die, that whole lightning bolt thing, where like if you're not grounded, you're more likely to die if you get struck by lightning or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're like barefooted and you're outside and you get struck by lightning, it essentially has a better chance of just going right through you.
Yep.
But if you're wearing rubber-soled shoes, and it doesn't have no place to ground.
Yeah, it blows off your fucking leg.
Yeah, it could get a little graphic like that. Ew. You're like, yeah, Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, fucking leg gone. That cracks me up. But yeah, totally, absolutely, yeah. It could literally blow off somebody's leg, blow off their feet, because it's fucking lightning. It's a lot of energy, and we're just not used to having that much energy go through us.
Yep.
So yeah, but yeah, even with the Abramelin, the mage Abramelin working, you still purify, but you do it on a lot larger scale. So, but yeah, I think it's important. Myself, I think it's important to banish like before and after.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't want to banish what you just did. Obviously, no. That goes along with the witch's circle and the cone of power, and you build that up and then you release it. Or you put that power in or that energy into a sigil. It stays there once you banish your room and everything. It's still, the energy is still there in your sigil.
Yeah, for real.
Your
that Egyptian one I'm writing, I think I'm going to use balance at the end.
Oh, that'll work.
Yeah.
That really depends on what you're working with. If you're not working with an extreme type of energy, and it's a balancing thing, then you don't really need to banish because you're already balanced.
Yep. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Like, everything's work that I've done, so it's like I'm obviously doing something right, but I always want to tweak it. That might just be the boredom aspect.
Well, to me, yeah, if it works, it works. I got nothing against that. But I don't know how, I'm trying to just figure out how to say this. Like an analogy. But I can't really think of anything at the moment. But yeah, basically, Um, well, it's like I work in a shop a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I work with wood. I work with metal. And if I'm working with wood and I'm building, let's say, a crossbow,
Yeah.
and I've cut it out. You know, I've got this crossbow cut out. I've got the stock cut out. I've got the bow cut out. Everything. Put everything together. You know, get the trigger mechanism working and everything. Get the all of it. And now I have a really fucking cool crossbow that I've created using wood. But let's say, just for example, I got the front door open and the back door open, this huge gust of wind comes in. Well, all that sawdust is still on the fucking ground, right? And it can blow up into your eyes,
Yep.
you know? And it's also highly flammable. So I also work with metal. So if I'm sitting there and I'm cutting like a part or something after I've cut the wood and I'm working on like the trigger mechanism and I'm like building a trigger part, like for it, and I'm grinding. Well, what comes from a grinder? Fucking sparks. You know, so those sparks hit that wood, that sawdust, it can start a fire, right? So yeah, we can create something like that, but I think it's important to clean up afterwards.
Yeah.
And if you want to call
Greatest.
and that's a banishing. That's, to me, that's what banishing is. It's like, yes, you still got what you created, you still have the energy put into it, but any excess bullshit, get rid of.
Yep. Yeah, because your chakras are too high, you're fucked. You know,
Yeah. So you have to grind. You have to ground yourself out and balance yourself out and center. Yeah, ground and center. Yeah, it's absolutely part of, you know, the whole process of closing a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you could use it to open with as well. I mean, if you literally want to like keep that balance, you know, and you want to just start off completely like
Just do it.
neutral, completely neutral. I mean, if you're doing the lesser vanishing ritual, the pentagram, the lesser vanishing ritual, the hexagram, you might as well ground and center before you start doing your magic work.
Yeah.
That way you're completely neutral and you only feel the energy that you're working with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a pretty decent analogy, is using that, the sawdust, because you never know what's like hanging out on the ground that you don't really think about, or hanging out in that environment that could be detrimental.
Well, that one series you got me to watch, fuck, the Magic Mind,
Oh yeah, Mind and Magic,
is that what it is?
Mystery School, Magic.
Mystery School, yeah.
Yeah, what is it? Mind and Magic Mystery School or something like that. But yeah, I know which one you're talking about with Raider X.
Yeah, fucking, I think it's lesson 93. See, I even remember the number. But he fucking tells you, you know, keep your temple clean. You know, a cluttered temple is a cluttered mind.
Right.
That
Yeah.
resonated so much with me because I am a messy motherfucker. And like I've been, you know, I put my will into cleaning my house and actually like getting everything right. And dude, it's cleared up my mind. I don't have
It does. Yeah.
50 fucking things my mind's thinking about.
Uh-huh.
Fucking why why I'm just sitting here. You know, it's surprising how much that changes your life.
Yeah. It's because of the energy. There's a resonance there.
Yeah, energy, and then just like you're using your brain to analyze 50 different things when you don't need to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like if your room's, mine has been, you know, until just recently, I did like a complete spring cleaning. But if your room is out of order, then anytime that you look at it, you're ignoring that disorder.
Yep.
Because you're not wanting to do anything about it. And that disorder, it has a resonant effect because we're seeing it. It's like It's like if you visualize, well, let's say a star with the happy face in it, you know, uh, that star with that happy face in it could represent whatever you want to. But if you're closing your eyes and you see it all the time, whatever it represents to you, that's what you're going to have on your focus.
Yep.
Okay. It's the same with your room or with your environment. If it's constantly cluttered, then that is how you are going to be inside, is constantly cluttered.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of that resonance. It's like you take a magnet and you touch it to a piece of steel or a screwdriver. After a certain length of time, you know, you take the magnet off, you can pick up a piece of metal with the screwdriver because it's turned it into a magnet. It's magnetized it. And that's what resonance is. It's creating a resonant field. It's like you create the same frequency between two different spatial existences, but whether it be a person or an environment or what have you.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that's how they tune pianos. You know, they got those tuning forks and they're tuned at a certain frequency. And so
that's a great example.
Oh, thanks. And yeah, they hit those frequencies, or they use those tuning forks, and then once they adjust it, they adjust the tightness of the string until it's in resonance with the tuning fork.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly chakra work right there.
Yeah, actually, and that's how you do chakra work. Is you like literally, you focus in that area. Yep. Around that area, wherever that area is, you know, it depends on the kind of system you're using, where they are. I mean, a lot of people, like, which I think you mentioned the other night, that you recognize there might be a connection between the chakras and the endocrine gland system.
Yeah.
And there might be. I can't say for certain that there is or there isn't, but there could be. It's completely plausible because they are basically in that same area.
Yeah.
You know, so that does make sense. And whenever you are focusing in that general vicinity of your body, and then you focus on that energy that you know is supposed to be in that chakra, that organization system, then that is what goes there.
Yep.
So that's how you balance yourself out. And if you feel like there's too much there, then you have to tone it down. You have to bring it in. You have to shut the volume down on it.
Oh, that's another great. Well, I guess we've already said that, but we put it differently with the banishing and invoking ritual, the feeling of the energies. You can also do that through qi and qi and qigong. I actually think a practice like that is pretty essential for a baby witch.
Yeah, it's just like back to Cunningham again. One of the things that he does in his book, Wicca Guide for the Solitary Practitioner, is one of the very first rituals that he does is talks about picking up a stone and feeling it.
Yeah.
And just feeling what it feels like.
Oh, dude, I do that shit all the time. I'll go out, just feel a tree's energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to be honest, I need to do it more because it works.
And then he steps it up a notch. He said, okay, now you've got that energy and how that feels. He's like, now wash it off. Either use water or stick it on an incense, inside an incense smoke, and purify it. Get rid of that energy until you don't feel anything in it anymore.
Yep.
And then use the hand that you normally use to write with and put whatever thought that you're coming up with at that moment and focus it into that stone.
Yeah.
Immediately he starts talking about feeling energy.
Yep.
And if there's anything that we are doing, it's working with energy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, you said it was 99% mind and 1% magic. Well, that 1% is feeling it.
Exactly.
So that's a good way to put it.
That is. I like that. But yeah, the inner work is so key, and 90% of the witches don't use the inner work. You know, I I hate fucking shadow work. I always feel like an ass. It's always some stupid fucking. My mom didn't give me Batman when I was 3.
Well, there's a trick to that.
You know?
Some of the best shadow working material that I have seen says to put it down.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? It's like, yes, absolutely. If you don't know how to unconditionally love yourself, then wait on shadow work.
Yeah.
Because most of what shadow work is dealing with negative aspects of yourself that you have to learn to love.
Yeah.
And once you,
I don't know. I think.
well, whenever you love it, it becomes part of you, and then you can integrate that into more of what you want it to be. Let's say, for example, ferocity. Okay, somebody has a tendency to be violent. Okay, so that's a shadow. But if you love yourself unconditionally, you can be like, sometimes that's necessary.
Yep.
If you're stuck out in the jungle somewhere or in the woods, and a mountain lion is attacking you, you do not want to be a motherfucking Tinkerbell. Okay,
Exactly.
you want to have that ferocity. So you think, thank you, ferocity. Thank you for saving my motherfucking ass. Right?
Sure.
So you're embracing that shadow, that part of you that you would normally push down and be like, oh, no, that's bad. That's bad. No, it's not.
I feel you can get rid of it though. Like
Yeah,
certain.
you can. Absolutely, you can. And there's certain things that you might want to get rid of. But, it's also like allowing it and giving yourself the choice to be like, okay, it's like that emotional switch rock spell that I did the other day. It's like I recognize this quality, I recognize this power, I recognize this energy within myself, and I know it serves me at times, but it does not serve me right now.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't want to have it within the forefront of my being, but I do recognize it. I do see it. So it's no longer a shadow. It's no longer something I don't know about, and it's no longer something that I shun. It's something I embrace within myself, and I know that eventually it might serve its purpose.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to ever use it. I mean, what's the chances of somebody like in New York running into a fucking mountain lion? Right? And you might want to learn self-defense, which is a toned down version of that ferocity. I mean, you still want to be aggressive. You still want to be, or, to the point where you can take care of yourself in a situation and have that bravery that comes along with that ferocity. Because a lot of times whenever somebody has that ferocity within them, that comes from a place of, using your courage in a last ditch effort to get shit done. Where if you're getting mugged in New York, you're going to have that experience and you will feel fear, but you have to face that fear and do what. And if you plan on doing anything as far as self-defense is concerned, then you have to recognize that this is a chaotic moment. This, or a wild moment, if you will. This is a wild moment where you do not know what the outcome is going to be, but this person is overbearing you to force you to submit your power to them. And then that should really piss you off. Okay? Especially if you're a witch, because we embrace our own power. Yeah. So absolutely, in that kind of situation, you will stomp on the heel, punch him in the throat, and run like hell.
You play like I
do. So yeah, it's not. I'm not talking about being no fucking Chuck Norris or anything, but just setting yourself up for a position of opportunity to move yourself away from the threat.
Him and Bruce Lee, I think, are like perfect examples of magicians.
They are, yeah. But they also know when to, when to not, because I've seen Bruce Lee in several of his shows get surrounded.
Yep.
Right. And then what he would do is he would punch about 2 or 3 of them, throw one of them into another like 4 or 5 of them, and clear himself an opening to get to where he had a more strategic place that he could fight, where he was more in control of the number of people who could attack him.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And you don't necessarily want to back yourself into a corner, but if you're in a corner, you can't be surrounded.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're only having to worry about, right in front of you, basically 180 degrees instead of 360.
Here, I got a scene for you.
Or in a doorway. You can stand like right in front of a doorway, and as long as there's nobody behind you, that's just one corridor. That's a bottleneck. Of course, you can tell I'm speaking from experience as far as martial arts goes. But
Okay, hold that thought. I got fucking the perfect Bruce Lee scene of what you're talking about.
yeah, where he limits the number of people that can attack him. Okay, yeah, go for it.
This one's not that situation, but yeah. What a dick.
Yeah, it's being kind of choppy on me. But,
Is it? I'll play it for a minute here. I should have probably fast forwarded it.
there it goes. Now it's smoothing out. But yeah, I bet I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Especially with them being on a ship.
What's your style? My style? You can call it the art of fighting without fighting. The art of fighting without fighting? Show me some of it. Later. All right. Don't you think we need more room? Where else? That island on a beach. We can take this boat.
We can take this bowl. I like the way he talks.
Yeah, take this bolt.
Okay.
Get him out on the boat and then push him off. I bet that's what I would do. It's like,
Yeah, fucking A, dude.
it's like,
He won that fight right there. The
there
art
it
of
is.
fighting
That's
without
done. That's done right there. Yeah, it's like, wait, that's not a fight. Yeah, it is. You are no longer close to me. You are no longer a threat. You're on a boat all by yourself, and I'm on the ship.
Yep, you lost Mortal Kombat, buddy.
Yep. Because it starts in the mind.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I was talking about as far as like knowing your surroundings and being able to control those surroundings. That is like definitely part of having that self-defense.
Yeah.
And that ferocity. And that ferocity can even be to the point of being so vicious you just leave some guy in the middle of the ocean on a boat.
Right? Yeah, because that's worse than having your ass kicked.
Right. I mean, he's gonna die of what? Starvation, dehydration. I mean, he's like, okay, you're done. That's a really cool scene. Thanks for sharing
That's one of
that.
my favorite. Dude, Bruce Lee's one of my favorite of the, because he's philosophical. He's fucking the best martial artist of all time.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, absolutely. I hands down, I completely agree with that.
Dude, even Chuck Norris says it.
He is a master of masters. Yeah. Oh yeah, Chuck Norris is really, really good at what he does. I have nothing against Chuck Norris. He is a badass.
Yeah. Little overrated. I think he would lose to a lot of people.
Well, he's a karate expert.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
karate I learned karate when I was 10. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like this shit modern days, like he wouldn't have a chance, but he's still
Right.
a badass.
Yeah, he's still a
Dude, what is
badass.
that
Yeah.
guy, 80 fucking years old?
Something like that. Yeah, and he can still like, take care of business.
Yeah, he'd fuck me up.
Yeah. I don't know if he would me, but well, I am kind of out of shape, so he might. But like I said, I've been in martial arts since a long time. But he has been in long. I was watching him on TV whenever I was learning.
Yeah.
So or movies. I was watching him on movies like The Octagon. Whenever I was still learning, A Force of One. I can list some of the movies that he was in.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a badass. He's not real tall though. He's a real short guy.
Is he really?
Yeah. Chuck Norris.
Return of the Dragon, he looks like a giant.
He looks like it, but that's all trick photography. That's like Jet Li. Jet Li's 4'8".
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's a little bitty guy.
That's crazy. I love him. He's so quick.
Oh gosh, Jet Li's incredible. If I was to put anybody like even close to Bruce Lee, that's who it would be. Is Jet Li.
Yeah.
And that's even including Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan, I just like his style.
His style. Well, I think he practices ninjutsu.
Yeah.
To be totally honest, all the different styles of martial arts that I've seen, and what he does with how he does what he does, is he's very much so ninja-like in being able to climb walls, escape small areas. He just has that really. He's like a reluctant ninja. He could be a ninja if he wanted to kill people, but he doesn't because he's a really cool little sweet guy. And but yeah, I think Jackie Chan knows some ninjutsu.
Yeah, I could see that.
Maybe a lot, maybe quite a bit of it. But yeah, I like him. I love his style. Like you said, his style's incredible.
Yeah.
But Bruce
Well, yeah,
Lee,
I think a lot of it's movie flashiness, but yeah. Well, I guess he always gets fucked up.
yeah, he does his own stunts. I mean, he does his own stunts and he does get fucked up, but he does not necessarily do it all in one take. You know, so
Oh, yeah.
he might try jumping through a ladder, like on that one show. He tries jumping through a ladder, and he really messes himself up a couple of times before he's able to jump through the rung of a ladder, which is not easy at all.
Yeah.
Like, especially with that small space that you're sitting there and you're trying to get your whole body to fly through there in a straight line like a spear being thrown.
Yep.
And yeah, I think they showed him trying to do that at least in the outtakes about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Where he was trying to jump through that ladder. And of course he fought with it as well, and that's something else that he uses as a lot is he fights with his props.
Yeah.
And you name anything, and he's just really good at using his environment. That's why I think that's why he's been instructed in ninjutsu.
Yeah.
Is because he's really good at using his environment, and that's a real common thing among ninjutsu. I mean, because I used to study ninjutsu as well, so whenever I was younger.
See, and another cool part about like all those fuckers, they all know energy work.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like ninjutsu. Ninjutsu has Kuji-ren or Kuji-en, which is basically its own set of mudras.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got I guess you would call it a meme, but basically it's a picture of all of the Kuji-en moves that you see in a lot of the ninja movies, like, where they're sitting there looking at each other, and there's good Kuji-en, and then there's bad Kuji-en for like the black ninjas and the white ninjas. Yeah. It's like, what's the difference between a black killer and a white killer? The color of their outfit.
For real.
Or an assassin, whatever. But yeah, they use these types of mudras, and that's kind of where I got come up with the idea for the witch's hand was ninjutsu.
I love that. You'll have to do a demonstration.
Oh wow, yeah. I could probably do that on like a video once I get my camera working right.
Yeah. That's one thing I want to go out and buy is like a camera.
Yeah, I've got a digital camera, but it doesn't have a screen on the front, so you can't see what you're filming unless you have somebody else like that. Like the one where I'm working with my katana and the nunchaku.
Yeah.
My brother filmed that.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you might hear him in the background, but yeah, I had him film that. And whenever I picked up that katana and started dancing with it, which is what I call it, because it really is, you get a feel for the weight of it and everything, and you just allow it to do its thing, and you just kind of like go with it and to direct it in that direction with your follow throughs and everything. But it has its own dance. You just have to learn what that dance is and dance with it. But yeah, whenever I first picked up that sword, I hadn't played with it or danced with it, what you want to call it, for about a year. So what you're seeing on there is me fresh from not even working with a sword for a year and spinning that bitch like Conan.
Well, you got it in your subconscious mind.
Yeah, it's there. It's in muscle memory. Absolutely. Yeah, they call it muscle memory, but yeah, that's what it is. It's subconscious.
Yeah.
Your subconscious knows how to move your muscles and what muscles to move. One thing that I didn't remember though is how heavy that sword is.
Now that's muscle memory.
Yeah, see, whenever I drew it out, like whenever you draw out a sword, the faster there's an art to it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know if you saw in that video, but I drew that sword out within in less than a second, just and it's out. And basically what you're doing is you're just throwing it. You're throwing the blade out of the sheath and catching it.
Yeah. It's like a counterweight, isn't it?
Yeah, you basically hurl the handle.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, the pommel, the handle. But yeah, you throw that handle outward. Directly straight outward from where it's in the sheath, and then you kind of like just keep your hand around it until it comes all the way out, and then you cinch down, and you just basically let that sword fly out of the sheath and catch it.
Yeah.
Well, what
You
that
could have lost the fucking battle already if you didn't get it out quick enough.
Yeah, and well, that's why they have that art. Like literally, the art of sword drawing is called Laijutsu.
Yeah.
And that's literally what they call it. And all it is just like taking your sword, sticking it in your sheath, drawing it out. Taking your sword, putting it back in the sheath and drawing it out. And when you put it back in the sheath, you don't look.
Yeah.
There's a way that you catch the back of the blade with your hand and it'll slide like right back into where it's supposed to.
That's fucking cool.
And then draw it right back out, catch with your palm of your hand, right there on the top of the sheath where it catches it and it's right where it needs to be, and slide right back in there. And if it's not in the right place, you'll know it.
Right?
Because I poked myself before. And it does not feel good at all. But yeah, that's Laijutsu. And so yeah, and at that time, luckily, I hadn't sharpened the blade as sharp as it is now. But yeah, that whole Fruit Ninja thing, I've actually done that.
You should send me your video. I'll post. You should send me the video of you doing the swords.
Oh, it should still be on my Facebook page. I haven't. I think I did lock it back down because somebody was messing with me.
Oh.
And I don't have a whole lot of like visual representations of what I look like.
Yeah.
Because as a witch, I know that can be very useful in a spell if somebody wants to cast a spell on me. And
as much as I don't believe in chaos, I am such an asshole with my magic. I'm just like, fuck it, come on. You see me, I talk shit about everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure I could, anybody who come against me would be in for a very bad way.
Dude,
but
you are wiser than most of anybody I've ever met, pretty much.
Oh wow, that's an awesome compliment. Thanks.
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, like EA Coetting, fucking that dude has some knowledge, and his classes are really good, but he misses the whole point. It's the same thing as Crowley, misses the point. Griffin, I'm pretty sure, misses the point.
Huh.
And you get the point.
I never really thought of it like that. And I guess that's kind of common, with people who do get the point. It's like we don't really take it. We take it for granted.
Yeah.
We do. We take it for granted that, how is this not understandable? How does people not realize this?
Well,
And
like, I
go
don't
ahead.
know. It's like you being like, the whole purpose of this is the analyzing of why you're doing it.
Mhm.
And how many magicians actually do that? I would say 1%.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them. Oh gosh, I don't even want to get into starting to rag on magicians, but yeah, there's a lot of them that, oh gosh, they're so worried about that false ego,
Yeah.
and that they put so much doubt in their own magic, just by saying that they're so powerful.
Yep.
And me, I'm like, I've had somebody tag me on Facebook, and I was like, "Who dares summon the Grand Poobah, her magnificent blowhard, the all shiny puffiness, who is just me."
Is that from Monty Python?
No, that's fine.
That's funny.
No, the Grand Poobah. I think that's Flintstones. That's the leader of the Moose Lodge, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I never really thought about the Flintstones having fucking Freemasons.
Yeah, they do. They literally have well, I think they call them the water buffaloes. Yeah, it's the water buffaloes on the Flintstones. And there's actually the Moose Lodge is a real organization.
Huh.
So that's what it is it's kind of like a play on the Moose Lodge, which
Yeah.
is the water buffalo on the Flintstones. But yeah, the Grand Poobah is the leader of the water buffalo. So I just wrote that one time, and I got a lot of people laughing because of it. It's like, who dares summon the Grand Poobah, her magnificent blowhard, her mighty fluffiness? Just me.
That's genius. It's that whole thing we were talking about the other day about like transmutating it, fucking changing, using a joke to totally just change the situation.
Right, exactly. Yeah, whatever that was tagged for, that went away.
Yeah.
Totally. But I was reading what it was, and it was this like seriously like vicious argument and conversation. And then somebody tagged me in because they wanted me to come in there and school them. Own them, basically.
I love when you do it. I fucking love it. And then I always come in and say some dick and ass thing.
Right. So yeah, so whenever I come in there and I done that, it was like, holy shit, who is this person? But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty cool with people. I don't really get
you really are.
I don't really get too much into the whole trolling thing or ragging on people. If I rag on somebody or like get down on somebody, it's more often than not because they've done it to somebody else.
Yeah, dude, for real.
I don't give a fuck what they think of me. I really don't. And I've told that to many, many people. It's like, oh, well, see, some of the things I said is like, it would matter what you said if I valued your opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't. I don't value it. So it doesn't matter what somebody says if I don't value their opinion.
Yeah.
I just dealt with somebody today that I've been friends with for 4 years, and they just tested me, and I'm like, nope, don't do that. That's too bad, because we had some pretty decent conversations, but at the same time, a lot of it was all contrariness. And that's when I posted that I'm tired of the the stupid shit, and they question it, and they're like, "What is stupid shit?" And I was like, "Well, let's look at the definitions." so I pulled up the definition of stupid, and I said, "Well, let's just work with 2 and 3." I said, and shit is what we, that useless stuff that comes out of humans and other species that is basically a waste. So what you have is senseless, non-intelligent, unnecessary, and unuseful waste, which is stupid shit. Now, if I need to explain this further, I will, and if you care to, I can put it in a mathematical formula for you.
I love it.
So,
I love when Vivian goes off too, because she does that same fucking bullshit.
oh yeah.
Like, I don't. She's not as intelligent, but as like, she's pretty fucking intelligent actually.
Yeah, I've noticed that about her. She definitely has impressed me, and that's not easy to do. I mean, I don't like tooting my own horn or anything, but
Well,
it's just like being honest. It's just being honest with myself. Some people impress me, some people don't. Majority of people don't,
Yeah.
and if they don't, well, then they don't. If they do, then that's a rarity, and I'll be like, yeah, wow, you impressed me, and I will tell them that they did. And most people, might not even think twice about it, like, oh wow, like I give a shit. And now, like, that even impresses me more. It's like, not like you give a shit, but I'm actually impressed by that. And so yeah, it's kind of, and just, yeah, a lot of what she has to say is very, and she claims that she's just starting out, but I'm just not seeing it.
all the fucking time, dude. She won't.
I'm like, what do
She's
you
like,
mean you're
"I don't
just
know
starting
enough yet."
out? Right. Well, I get that. I mean, I'm constantly learning too, but there's just at a certain point you have to say you are no longer just starting out.
She
You have
has
to.
a great grasp of hermetics.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I've
it's
seen
like,
that.
that is a big fucking deal.
That's a huge deal. I mean, yeah, that is like the foundation of what we've been talking about for the last 2 sessions or 3 sessions or whatever. Is like literally the basics of why people follow recipes and what happens in those recipes. I was telling you earlier about cookies and how baking soda makes them crisp and baking powder makes them rise. Well, whenever you're doing a magic spell, there are certain things that happens that you do in them that follows these certain rules, and the reason that it works is because of those rules.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
those rules are the Hermetic laws, and they explain. And it's not that the laws, were written to I guess you could say, have rules to follow. These Hermetic laws were written to explain what was already there.
Yeah, exactly. It's the laws of nature. It's the
It's the
Tao.
laws of nature, right? Yeah. So yeah, whenever we're talking about using water, what is water? Water is a purifying process. Yeah, we use it to wash ourselves off, but it's also liquid. It's a liquid matter, and you can use it to roll stuff off of you. And like, in water, they've even had experiments with water about sticking it in a jar in front of in a classroom, and all day long, or every day that the kids came in, on 1 jar of water, they would be like, "I love you. You're awesome. I think you're just some like epic water," And then on this other jar of water, they're like, "I hate you. You suck. You're a terrible glass of water," right?
Yeah.
At the end of the school year, you've got the water that everybody was putting good energy into, or uplifting energies, telling it it's a good glass of water, and it's pure, clean, pristine water.
Yep.
But the other water, where they were sitting there giving it a hard time, being ruthless to it and calling it names and shit, it's all dirty and muggy and gross.
Yeah. Well, they have that
Because,
snowflake one too.
well, water holds energy. Water, I mean, it's like I took electronics. basically I'm a technician. So we know that water conducts, it carries an energy, so if you're standing in a puddle and there's an electric wire, if that wire hits that water, it's like holding on to that water as wire on the other end of it. It like creates a circuit. So water has that ability to be conductive, and in that conductivity it can also store energy as well.
Yep.
So yeah, and we're like, how much water?
70%.
Right. So we're 70% water. So yeah, we have that same effect whenever, like you was talking about your room being cluttered. Whenever that room is cluttered and it resonates with us, the water in our body resonates with that clutter.
Yeah, that's the one thing that drives me nuts with
And
magicians.
that can lead to disease and bad health.
Oh, for sure, man.
Right. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're cool. Basically that same point is, you talk down to yourself, you become that, and then it usually builds up in physical illnesses, mental illnesses. I mean, I honestly think most mental illnesses can be dealt with through meditation and fucking self-work.
Yeah, like mental illnesses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like the word placebo.
Oh yeah.
The medicals, the medicals research section, that's their worst enemy. It's the placebo. Somebody believing that what they're doing is working, so it works.
Yep. And if everybody understood that, we would be some healthy motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, yep. Of course, it also has to do with what you kind of energy you surround yourself with and what energy you allow into.
Yeah, it's correspondence and vibration as well.
Into your system. Like you was just talking about. If you're mean to yourself, you're going to develop problems.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
I think we should call it a night. I'm fucking beat.
All right. Yeah, I was just thinking the exact same thing. So we're on the same page there.
We just got kind of left it off on hermetics too, so that's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. That was a really awesome.
That one flows like a motherfucker. I'm not even gonna edit
it. That did flow really well. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
It's gonna blow my mind when I sit and listen back to what we allow to flow through us.
Yeah.
And it's just I just know it is. It's gonna be like, dude, where the fuck is all that coming from?
Dude, it's legit shit. I mean, this is shit that can really help people.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, just thinking back, just some of the stuff that I remember talking about, and some of the stuff I remember you talking about is that is like some gold. I mean, it's like some alchemical gold.
Well, even the talking martial arts, that shit was gold.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. But it's all basically part of it, So